Um, First of all, thank you for accepting our interview request, and congratulations on your second feature film, The Valley of Tears, which will be released in Turkey this Friday. Having shot your second movie, can you tell the Turkish audience a little bit about yourself and your journey as a film director?
Yes, I'm Lebanese.
Yeah.
And I live now in Canada since 17 years.
Oh.
The Valley of Tears is my second feature film, and that's it. I'm a director, writer, and producer.
Yeah.
And I'm really so excited to present my film to the Turkish audience, and I can't wait to see the feedback.
Yeah, thank you. We are also so pleased. I watched your movie yesterday, and congratulations.
Thank you.
The Valley of Tears has a fictional scenario which you wrote yourself, but on the other hand, the subject is very much about realities and about social and political issues. It's not a documentary, of course, but was your intention more about giving this information about what happened back then in the Sabra and Shatila massacre to the audience by your movie, or was it only a subject that you thought would help your dramatic movie? What was your first motive?
Actually, I have a friend who back in 2001 wanted to pursue Ariel Sharon and some responsibles in the massacres of Sabra and Shatila, and then at that time I decided to make a documentary and to follow him through the documentary.
Yeah.
But unfortunately Ariel Sharon was sick and he is still in the coma. So the project of the documentary was not going to happen anymore. So since I became very passionate about the subject and very much touched about it and everything, I decided to make a fiction.
Yeah.
So of course the story of the Valley of Tears is totally a fiction.
Yeah.
It is not true. It didn't happen. But I wanted also when Words with Bashir came out. The film was very interesting and very well done, but I thought at that time that the Palestinians didn't have anything to say in the film.
Yeah.
They weren't given any place in the film. So I wanted also to make out of the Valley of Tears a sort of the point of view of Palestinians. So.
Great, thank you. And in your movie there are more than one subject that attracts attention. The most important issue is, of course, the things that went on during and after the massacre. But lots of people can read the movie in different directions. One can only say about the childhood and the past effects of our future, especially in the countries like these. Also, the motherhood is very important in your movie, the faith of the child, and the relationships with the mother on both sides. Also, by putting a very modern, blonde, free woman from Montreal near a Palestinian man, you managed to show us very different perspectives, both modern way, orientalist way. Since you're also the writer of this movie, what was your motive in the first place when you decided to shoot this movie? Were they all inside your mind, or did they pop up while you were developing the project?
Since when I go and watch a film, what I like about movies is different layers about. So I wanted to talk, since I live in Canada since 17 years and come from Lebanon, where I lived the war and everything. I'm totally Lebanese.
Yeah.
I wanted to create a character that, two characters actually, that can, and trying to bridge two cultures, like my Montrealer blonde modern woman and Ali Joseph, the the Palestinian boy, I wanted to see what kind of relationship can have two total strangers.
Yeah.
And the third thing is about the motherhood.
Yeah.
I always thought, and this is a subject that I have also talked about in my first film. I always thought that motherhood was something very sacred, and that nobody ever dare to look at it or to criticize it, or because it is sacred. And it is sacred in all cultures, not only in East. And I wanted to open a door somehow. I wanted to open a door of reflection and say, what if they have also some kind of responsibility?
Yeah. Okay. And can you tell us about your cast? How did you come up working with Nathalie Kupal and Joseph Anteki and the rest of your cast? They all fit together very well.
Thank you. Actually, Joseph Antaki, it was a bit easy because he's quite a good actor. He has played in several movies and TV series, and he had the physique of a Palestinian, and he's Egyptian from originally. He's an Egyptian born. So that was quite simple, because when I met him, we did some prova and everything went very good. Nathalie Kupal, I had in mind this beautiful blonde, very Westerner, you know, the kind of person that might trigger phantasma, and I wanted this. So I was looking for pretty women, blonde women. And of course it's not she's pretty, but she's not only this. So when we met, we tried, we worked a little bit together at the beginning. At the beginning she had some difficulties to get to know the character, etc. But when she started knowing Mary very good, and she met Joseph, and so it went really very, very smoothly, and I was very happy from the result.
Yeah, I think so. We can't understand that she had hard time, you know, understanding the character, because she just fits so well.
It was only the 2 first days, you know, she was, and certainly we started shooting the film in Lebanon. So she came in Lebanon. That was her first time. So I suppose all the cultural things were a little bit overwhelming, but it only took like 24 hours before she gets in. Really.
I was going to ask about your shootings in Lebanon, in Quebec. What did you live through? How was the shootings?
It was really a wonderful shooting, but I don't want to say just that it was great, because it was great, but I had also some disappointing, and I would like to talk about these things, because when I had a lot of difficulties to finance this film with Lebanon, since it's a little bit political and a bit touchy, even though I explained to everybody that this is more a human film than a political one. So I went to Lebanon, and I started meeting people with whom I wanted to work in the film. And I had some people who were really very excited to be part of this, and they thought that it's important to talk about these subjects. And I had some other who refused to work in the film because of the subject.
Wow.
So that was a little bit
experience for you, maybe.
I wasn't expecting this. But I had also the whole crew who worked on it, who was happy to do so.
Oh, that's so nice. So did your movie go to any festivals so far, or there are some new festivals? Because, you know, I think this movie is a movie that must travel, and lots of people should see, and the festivals are good for this. So what's next?
Actually, that's been many months that the film is traveling,
Yeah.
and it is actually international.
Yeah.
I've never thought of it like this, but because I was invited to China, I was
Yeah.
invited to India, I was invited to Cairo, to Dubai,
Great.
to the United States, to France, to Romania, to Russia. So the film went really internationally, and I'm very happy that this kind of subject touches people, even if they don't live what we went through ourselves.
And you know, that was also inside your movie, the talkings with the boss and the woman. She told him that, for example, even if someone didn't live through this, they can be interested. And I think it was the message inside the movie, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, that was some. I want to talk about this because some financier here in Canada told me that. They said that it won't interest anybody because. So I wanted just to get revenge somehow.
Yeah, I sensed it. You know, I thought that that book has to do something with this film. You know. Because some people can say that it doesn't attract everyone, but it mustn't be all about, you know, the blockbusters and everything. So lots of people are familiar with these kind of things.
Yeah.
So it's great.
It's good that you have seen this. It's great.
Thank you.
You're a good critic.
Thank you. I'm going to write about this movie, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. I can send you later. Okay. Do you think your movies will always be about this, you know, social, political, or about human things, you know, something that matters, or maybe you will make a movie only funny or romantic? What do you think about the next projects?
I would like, my next project is already written.
Oh, great.
And yes, and I'm financing it right now. It's with Hiam Abbas, the Palestinian actress.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm hoping to shoot it next autumn. I'm just looking for a last partner to go to start the shooting.
Is it your scenario?
The scenario, yes,
Yeah.
it's mine.
Yeah,
it's
great.
my scenario.
Yeah.
And it's not political at all.
Mm-hmm.
So but it deals as well with the East and the West,
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, it's a kind of a mystery film, a sort of a different genre of what I did up to now.
Oh.
So that's my next one. Now I hope someday I can be I can be able to make comedies.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person who likes to laugh a lot, but when I make films, I feel I'm responsible not only to make people laugh. I think that there are a lot of people who make people laugh.
Of course.
So I say if I can come up with some social interesting things to think about, why not? But at the same time, I'm not closing any doors about comedies. I might one day.
Yeah. Also, there are some funny things in this movie. Also.
Yeah, it's good. You are a good. You are a good movie watcher.
Ah, thank you.
You saw things in the films, and I appreciate it.
Ah, thank you, thank you. I really liked your movie a lot, and I thought very much over it. So I think that's why I just remember lots of things to talk with you, not only ask but also talk with you. So it was great.
Good.
So. What next? You know, are you familiar with Turkish cinema and our directors and movies? Are you familiar with them?
Of course. I know Fatih Akin, I know Bilge Ceylan, and when I say I know them, it means I've seen all the films, not only. I have seen. I mean, when I'm in festivals, when I see a Turkish movie, I just go and see it always. and sometimes I don't recall the name, or I don't write it down. But I'm very much interested in Turkish cinema. I think that I don't know how it was before, but since these last 10 years, I've started to be interested in Turkish cinema, and I feel that there is something going on in Turkey. I don't know how it was before, and especially that one of my best writer is Pamuk. I wait each time for his next book, and when it's released, I'm like the first one to go and buy it. And you know, Lebanon was under the Ottoman time, so, and I went, of course, already to Turkey. I went to Istanbul, and I feel like a very familiar thing when I read Pamuk, when I see movies, Turkish films. I feel it's very weird because I've been once to Turkey, but I like I'm home.
It's so familiar, I think, right?
It's really familiar, and it's like the original. I remember when I went the first time to Istanbul, the first thing I said to a friend, I said, I feel like I'm at the original place, and Lebanon and all the other things are a copy.
Really?
And I felt as if I was from here. And it's weird, but this is it.
Come again, please.
Oh, I want to. I wanted to go now for the release of the film, but with what is happening in Istanbul.
I was also going to ask about that. You know, Turkey is living through a very interesting period, both very strong and happy at the same time, very upsetting things. So, you know, even in your movie, some sentences reminded me of what are we living through, because it's all about the human rights, it's about oppression, it's about cruelty. So, so you followed what happened in the Gezi events, and what do you think about it, since you're also an observer and an artist? What do you think about these?
Well, I think that's what's happening is wonderful, because I think that sometimes, you know, we think that people are not reacting and things are not good, and people are just accepting things. But the power of resenting things comes sometimes just like a miracle. And what's happening because of the Gezi Park is not because of this, of the construction, the destruction of the garden. It has much more important things, and it's interesting that it comes at a time when everything is great in Turkey. I mean, the economy. You know, I travel a lot, and whenever I go in hotels, in the planes, in whatever I open, since 2010, when Istanbul was considered the European capital of culture, whenever I open a magazine, there is an interesting article, you know, of 10 or 15 pages about Turkey. It's coming. And even here, we didn't have a direct flight to Istanbul, and this year it was created for the first time in one company. And it's interesting that when Turkey is becoming like at the top of its shape economically and culturally talking, that all this happens.